Hey guys, welcome to our weekly Bacon Cast series. I am Francis. I'll be one of your hosts this week, along with Thomas,
Hello.
Nick,
What up?
and Darcy.
Oh, hi.
So, how is everyone doing this week?
Uh, I'm doing okay. It's another long, hard week.
Pretty good. First on spring break.
Oh, I hate you.
Oh, spring break.
What?
It's the American thing.
It's an American thing.
What? Well, we have spring break in Canada as well.
Well, it's March break. It's not spring break.
Yeah, it's the same thing, right? March break,
Right.
spring break.
Yeah, they
Right,
call
but
it
you
that.
see-
I mean, it was snowing like 2 days ago here, so yeah,
Same.
it really feels like spring, but it's a week off. I'll take it.
Well,
Yeah, especially in college and university. I think that 1 week is really important.
isn't that called reading week for when it's college university level?
Yes, it is.
No.
In Canada. In-
It's called Go to Cancun and Get Wasted week in the U.S.
that makes sense.
Wait, you guys
Go
need an
to,
excuse to get wasted? You're
New
doing it
Orleans
wrong.
and
No,
take the top off.
an excuse to go to Cancun and get wasted. You're getting wasted somewhere else.
If you're gonna do it somewhere, you gotta do it somewhere nice.
With Mardi Gras beads?
Why? Because you're being naked in your own house and good enough.
For some people.
Okay, so what game are we playing today? Or watching?
Diablo 3. So this game came out a while ago, and when it first came out, it was in really poor position.
When did this game come out? 2011?
Oh,
Long time.
yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
it's been a while, right?
it's been a while, but like the biggest issue was that their loot system was all screwed up. So not only did random weapons and items drop, the stats on them were completely randomized too. So you would get like the two-handed or the one-handed crossbow, which is used by the demon hunter class, but it would have like
Strength and intellect on it.
right the stuff that's completely worthless to you. So like the grind to get the gear was like exponentially painful. That was like the biggest complaint when it first came out. They've done a lot over the years. And Darcy actually was like, "Hey, you should recheck it out." So I've been playing it the last 2 weeks or so, just kind of playing it again. Got up my demon
That's
hunter to level 70. So now just kind of doing the end game stuff.
And-
Just recently completed my class set equipment, so I can sit there and do kind of the higher tiered stuff now. So just we kind of have fun with it. Let you guys see me run around, and hopefully I'll not die too many times.
I love
And-
seeing your guy on screen, your little wooden dude looking around.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm
what is
curious.
Groot doing? Like, he's just dancing. Like,
Groot.
Oh, just a note, this is Reaper of Souls, the first expansion for Diablo 3. It came out, I want to say, year and a half ago, maybe more. But that's when they did a lot of the whole loot revamp thing. And there's also seasons which were implemented, which is you could play your character for a certain, or for the season, and then it gets rolled into a permanent one. But there's new stuff that's being implemented that you could only experience in the seasonal gear until that season ends and those new implementations are put onto your live career character.
So do you keep those seasonal? Do you keep the seasonal stuff?
Yeah, because at the end of the season, all of your equipment that was implemented that season is now going to be available on your career character. So the persistent characters. So all your seasonal characters are then going to be a career character. So you keep all of your items. You're not losing anything. It's just you only get to experience seasonal stuff for the season. So it's a little bit of a race, a challenge. You get to see how high you can progress with your friends. And every 3 or 4 months or whatever it is, you no longer have seasonal characters. They're made to your career. and you could just delete them after banking their gear, and then you make a new character and you start up the new season.
And is there stronger and stronger gear each season? So your permanent character gets better gear?
Well, honestly, I haven't played too many seasons. I played season 3 and then this season, which I believe is season 5. So,
So does
um,
season 5 have better gear than season 3?
yes, by
Right.
far.
That makes sense.
All of
Kind of like World of Warcraft, right? Your tiers.
right. Also, in this game, there are 6 classes, and there are sets that are unique for each class. So, uh, Nick is playing a Demon Hunter right now, and he's using the Marauder set, which is one of the 4 Demon Hunter sets. So there are 4 sets per class, 24 sets, and these all get changed and buffed as time or every season. So last season, different set was a lot stronger, and this season, other ones are stronger. So there's always a shift as changes occur.
It's interesting. It's like doing something to make you want to come back and change up the game.
Right. Every season is different than the last season. I mean, yes, it's the same feel and experience for the game, but you're seeing different sides and strengths, and you're encouraged to play different roles, different play styles, different classes. It's great.
So I guess we can just like jump right into the game, right? Or is there more
Yeah,
stuff?
let's see how the game looks.
Okay.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your class and
I run
what your
shit.
abilities are.
So yeah, like I said, I'm Demon Hunter.
Do you hunt
Ranged.
demons?
Yeah. Ranged. You can either have 2 one-handed crossbows or a crossbow and a bow, or crossbow or a bow. So kind of a range. There is a dagger setup. I haven't used that at all. Currently, I'm using the
Marauders.
like you said, the Marauder set. So the sets kind of dictate, like, depending on how you want to play, will dictate which set you're looking for. So with mine, it's using turrets, the pets, and one of the skills, cluster arrow, which shoots a lot of, 5 arrows out at once, and then they like explode at the end.
So you're a ranged like
Oh yeah,
Archer.
you're in that ranged
Yeah,
archer
I'm
tree,
ranged.
right?
I'm
Do
like,
you have any melee abilities when you go ranged?
You can
you can, but currently the only really melee one I have, other than my pets, obviously, is my vault, which is get away. But if someone's around me when I do vault, it currently stuns them.
Okay, so
So-
hello,
Right.
your question makes me think of like vanilla World of Warcraft, where if something enters 8 meters of your character, you're completely useless. You have to swing a weapon. No, in this game, if something is a meter in front of your face, you're still shooting it with the bow.
It's funny you bring up vanilla World of Warcraft and how hunters were just completely OP in melee range and in ranged. So they
Yeah,
were just
I was
OP in general.
I was a main hunter, and we had this Fury Warrior that was one of our highest DPS, and he would challenge me to duels before raid, and I would just stay in melee range and whoop the shit out of him just because I could.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous. I remember I mained a warlock, and I had a friend who I used to raid with, and he would just in melee range without even shooting his bows, he would just kick my ass. It made no sense at all. This is a hunter uses a bow and arrow. He should be vulnerable in melee range. So yeah, anyways, just we're on a tangent here, but that's just it just didn't make any sense back in vanilla.
Okay, there's some chaos going on in this.
Yeah, there was a yellow mob as soon as I spawned in, which is awesome.
That's 2 yellows.
Even better.
Yep.
Oh,
You good
You're
to
doing
die?
fine.
Shrine behind you.
I already got that one down there.
No, there's one up to the top.
Is that
So if you know-
helping you?
Yeah, it's
that
my follower.
Mercenary?
Yeah.
Right.
So if you notice, I was trying to get my distance. So each of these blue orbs is a turret. I can put 5 up at once. And then every time I do my cluster arrow attack, which is my main attack, each of the turrets does the cluster attack also. So like I drop them on the mobs, and then I run away and proceed to just spam buttons, and things die, and then I go back and things dead. So
Sounds OP as fuck.
I'm a very ranged class right now. I like
Yeah, but Whereas
have
the
wings.
weakness, yeah, that's a cosmetic thing you get from, collector's edition of another Blizzard game.
Your character looks different now. He's like all black, and he actually looks like a demon. or
Vengeance
white.
ability.
Ah.
Yeah.
So what is that? It's just like helping you get more.
You get stronger.
FPS?
Yeah, it's stronger. Plus, I have things that when I'm in that, it takes less damage.
Oh.
And Nick, you should be mashing that button. It should be up permanently.
Well, it's not up permanently. It's got like a 4-second gap. I needed better stats on my equipment.
You guys talking shop, and I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Dude,
Okay,
I'm in the
so-
same boat, Francis.
It's like,
It's like, yeah.
yeah, you're not using that enough. Go do it more.
Okay, so another thing to mention is if you mouse over the champions or the elites, you're going to see 4 or 5 affixes underneath their name. And these are randomly generated effects that could really screw you up, depending on the type of mob and what affixes you get.
That's a really old game mechanic from Diablo 2.
Right, but unlike Diablo
this
2,
is
where
Diablo 3.
right, but do you remember in Diablo 2 where you'd be playing your frozen orb sork, and then all of a sudden you run into a pack and they are frost immune, and you're just like, well, I'm
Yeah.
done. New
It's
game.
funny. I actually I mained a what was it, sorcerer? What was it back then? I can't fucking remember. But yeah,
Yeah.
I used to play a magic character. It was that chick, right? The chick with the staff. I don't remember.
Sorceress?
Yeah, wasn't that it?
That's what I think it was.
There weren't like, you couldn't choose your sex back then. So if you chose a class, that was your sex.
Oh man, I remember
And I believe there were 2 females.
the Amazon and the Sorceress, I think.
Amazon, baby. Woo!
Oh man, did you go Boazon or Jeffazon?
I've never experienced a single Diablo. so
That
I'm just
was
like,
how many years ago, dude?
It's like how are we? I don't remember any of that. Like I remember those orbs you're talking about. What those frost orbs that would like fly out and then like have those shits shooting out of it.
The shits.
And yeah, I forgot what it was like. Was it called frost orb? But I remember
Frozen
my
orb.
entire build, frozen orb. My entire build was just built around making that one orb like insanely super powered.
Yep. I used to have a druid, werewolf druid, when I had the chest piece. I can't remember what it was that allowed me to teleport, and that was really cool.
Interesting.
But yeah, as you said,
do not remember much about the game. I remember the expansion where like there was those barbarians.
the ancients.
Was it the ancient? What?
Mm.
The one where you're in like the snow mountain?
At Mount Ariat.
I don't remember the names. Oh god, it's so long ago.
So, Iceman, where were you 15 years ago?
a uterus.
That's genius. But yeah, definitely missed out on a really good game.
Yeah, I've never even heard of a Diablo until today or yesterday. So
What?
yeah,
I remember playing Diablo
these
1 as a
days.
kid.
I mean,
man. I
I-
know, right? They don't fucking know anything. They're so dumb.
Mm-hmm. They even buy iPhones and shit.
hey, I like
it's
my
like-
iPhone.
like,
It doesn't
no,
do
like,
as much stuff as I want.
You
it
bring
to,
up a
but-
phone, right? And that's another problem we have where it's like, oh, I don't have to learn this because if I need to know it, I can just pull up my phone and Google it. So they don't even have to learn anything these days.
Yeah, you always got to look up to your parents who passed college without Google. They
They
had to, like-
passed college.
Yeah.
Can you go back to English, please?
Well, like, you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
I hate the dictionary, like using a dictionary and stuff like that.
We had to use dictionaries in a book back in the day.
I know.
Oh,
like,
man.
I can't even think about that. Now I just ask Siri. It's like Siri,
God.
Encyclopedia Britannica.
how do I spell
Oh
it?
man, Microsoft Encarta.
Oh my
Encarta
god.
95. You guys remember
I
that
had-
shit?
I had 97.
Oh man,
Uh-oh.
I remember using Encarta and it came on like a CD. Oh man, that was amazing. And then you'd be like, all your friends would be like, "Oh my god, you have Encarta," and then you'd like pass that disc around. Everyone installs it.
Oh man.
That was great back in the day.
Back in the day. In the
Pretty
olden
much. I mean, I
days.
was a kid back then. I remember being like, when was it? Grade 5 or 6.
Isn't that what Iceman's in right now?
Sounds
Or-
about
That's
right.
what my mental state is in.
You see, that's being overgenerous saying you're that old mentally.
I'm actually really smart. I'm an
I haven't
actor, so I like
shown
goof
it to
off,
anybody.
and I don't act smart, but I'm pretty smart.
Yeah, you're really humble too.
I know I am. You guys should like bow down to me.
Yeah,
you're
I'll
just
get
like-
right on that.
And normally when people are smart, they don't come out and just say they're smart. But all right.
I'm invincible.
All right,
Why
Boris.
is there a ball around
How do you know you're invincible? Oh,
I
you're,
think-
you're glowing orange.
Yeah, I picked up a Spire thing that gave me it.
You know, one of the big changes I noticed between Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 is there's no potions.
There is a potion. It's a reusable potion on a 30-second cooldown, where it's not like you load up your
No
belt.
spamming?
Yeah, you can't load up your belt with, what is it, 16 potions, enter
Yeah, man,
combat,
that
and
was
hit
the
all
best thing.
16 in a second, and be like, okay, well, now I die. Oh man, those potions of full rejuvenation were great.
Yeah, but they were. If I remember correctly, they were expensive.
Yeah, it was, you had to get 3 normal rejuvenation potions, put them in your Herodric Cube.
Herodric
Oh,
Cube and combine them.
okay, so when Diablo 2 first came out, there was no Herodric Cube. However, when they did Reaper of Souls, they brought in this new item that is kind of the Herodric Cube 2.0 called Canai's Cube. And it has a lot of similarities, but it is very unique. And it does bring back that old taste of Diablo 2 that a lot of people were missing.
I
mean
recently read an article that
one?
said that there was a cow level in Diablo 3 that is only
Yes.
accessible in March.
No, I can get you to the cow level anytime I want.
No. Then I don't know what I was reading. It was about like some
Unless-
developer that died like 2 years ago and they made this cow level named after that dude that died.
There's a cow level that, well, as Snipe started, or Nix was saying earlier, is you get random drops that are for your class. So, I mean, playing a Demon Hunter, you're less likely to get this item, but there is a Bardiche, which is a giant 2-handed axe, that if you throw it in your Kanai's Cube, will actually spawn a portal to the cow level. And it consumes the item, but it drops pretty frequently for non-Demon Hunters. But yes, you can get to the cow level just about any time you want, as well as another level called the Vault, which is a place with a lot of gold. It's where the treasure goblins originate from.
I'm
Treasure
guessing it
goblin?
costs a lot of money to get there, so it's like a gamble whether you're
Uh,
going to make or lose money.
No, it doesn't cost you any money. It's, again, like the Bardiche, where it consumes the item, but this time it's a ring. So, you know, by chance you come across a certain ring called a puzzle ring. You throw it in your cube, you hit the button, consumes the item, opens a portal, and everybody in.
This game reminds me a lot of Marvel Heroes,
They've
which
done
I
a
have
lot
a
of
lot more recent memory of as I played it.
They've done a lot of really nice changes with this game, and you can actually push, like Nick just did a normal rift, you can push into a greater rift as well, and you can be pushing high level with your friends, and you try to set a record as to how high you can get. And the challenges get greater and greater with mob health increasing and mob damage, and the difficulty that Nick is at, the mobs have 4 affixes. Once you get higher, they end up with 5. So that's a lot more shit you have to deal with.
I like that idea. I think one of the reasons that I stopped playing Diablo 2 was that the only higher difficulty that you would go is what would you call it, that hardcore difficulty or whatever, where you only had 1 life.
Oh, yeah, hardcore mode. There is still hardcore mode where you have that one life and you could play hardcore seasonal. Uh, There's all different variants, but I mean,
Mhm. But I
uh,
just mean like at some point in Diablo 2, it was just like it got
a mindless
kind of
grind.
yeah, it was like, oh, this is too kind of easy and they're kind of pointless.
Yeah, where you were going to, what is it, World's End, Act 2. You would be doing the same run over and over, Bales runs over and over and over.
Mhm. Why
And
are you're not doing that here?
um, well, back
There's
then,
more variety.
yeah, like right now, like when you do a Greater Rift, the monsters that you're fighting are randomly generated, and the dungeons you're in are randomly generated. And the Greater Rift is you have to fill up a bar on the side. Every time you kill something, it adds progress to this bar. And once the bar is full, a Rift Guardian appears, and you have to defeat it. Now, when you're doing a Greater Rift, this is on a timer, a 15-minute timer. So as it gets harder and harder, you also have the timer to consider. And every death in a Greater Rift, you will spend more time dead before you can revive. So if you're dying in a Greater Rift, it's horrible. You got to stay alive as best you can, work with your group, coordinate, and it's very reliant on how you buff your teammates' damage and how they buff you.
Loot explosion, yay. Speaking of dying, we're all pretty big PlanetSide 2 players here. We're big
That
PlanetSide 2 fans.
segue, wow.
Dude, I die a lot in PlanetSide 2.
Yeah, you kill us a lot too.
Right.
I-
And
yeah, I can't defend myself.
the PlanetSide 2 server smash was last weekend, and a couple of us competed in it, or took place in it.
Well, not a couple of
our
us, all of us,
server-
except Darcy. Scrubbed.
Right. Our server ultimately lost, but I think our lane, we put up a really good fight. And was wondering if you guys have anything to say about that.
Well, yeah, for our viewers, if you've never heard of PlanetSide 2, it's a MMO FPS game. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of people against each other. Each continent is a 64 square kilometer map and holds close to 1,000 people split across the three empires. Server Smash, though, it's a community-led event where we go on a special server and we control the match. And so usually it's just two teams and Server Smash, so it's the different servers. This last one was Emerald, which is the U.S. East Coast, versus Briggs, which is the Oceanic server. And it was, I believe, 214
We fought them before.
versus 214. And yeah, we fought them before. It's been 2 years doing server smashes. This particular one, I was a platoon lead, so I was controlling 48 guys. Hello was in the squad that was inside that platoon from AT. Iceman was, or Thomas
Francis.
was flying.
Thomas, yeah.
What? Stop
Sorry.
confusing me.
It's just,
And
our names.
yeah. So we just kind of had a wide variety. You typically kind of like most competitive games, you consider them lanes. So our platoon was responsible for one area, another platoon was responsible for another area, and our lane did really, really good. The rest of the server kind of sucked, but it was still fun. It's a good time.
Well, we can't really say that they sucked because we don't know the forces they were encountering and how good they were.
I know they made
They
some
did
bad
bad.
decisions.
They may
made
not
some bad
suck, but they did
decisions.
bad.
Then add a qualifier to it. They sucked. They were worse than the people they were fighting.
Yes.
Okay.
But either way, I mean, it was still a good time. I enjoy them a lot.
Yeah, I love Server
Um,
Smash. It's great.
And if like you've never, they do have a dedicated caster for it who's got a god cam who flies around and checks out fights. So anyone out there, if you're interested in that, keep an eye out. PlanetSide Battles are the people who host it. So if you
And
can
something
build
you
up
didn't
that equipment-
mention about PlanetSide is there are vehicles and planes that you can fly in game.
Yeah, yeah. It's not just a first person. I mean, it's a combined arms game. So you have, I mean, you have your infantry play trying to capture bases, but then in order to do that, you have support from ground, including transports, a spawning vehicle, and tanks. And then air, you have air transport, both big and small, and
It's based on
attack
the
craft.
resource system, so you can't just keep spawning vehicles. So
Yeah.
there's not like a million vehicles on the.
And the great thing
Forza.
about the live game, that the reason why I love PlanetSide, both the original and this one, is it's the maps are consistent. No, that's not the right word. What's the word I'm looking for?
Persistent?
Yeah, there you go. Persistent. Hold on. Mind fart there. So like, you log in. It's not like a round or anything. You log
just
in.
endless
You
all the
join a
time.
continent, and you fight. And then when you have to log off, you log off. Well, when you come back the next time, even though it's the same exact server, the same exact continent,
Map.
the map could be completely different. Because the fight doesn't stop just because you left. And I love that about the game. So, there's Waller.
Yeah, it reminds me of Black. I mean, speaking of, this is like the third time we brought up World of Warcraft Vanilla, but back in World
Alterac
of Warcraft
Valley.
Vanilla, yeah, Alterac Valley. Before they put that 2-hour cap on it, Alterac Valley could go on for an entire day.
Oh god, I remember Alterac Valleys that would go on for a week. Also, you guys might want to take note as to the item that Nick just looted into in Diablo 3. If you have a second, you should identify it because this is another World of Warcraft throwback item right here.
All right. You guys have anything to say about PlanetSide? Like, we're all big PlanetSide fans here.
I'm
We're
good
all
at
like
killing
high-level
people,
characters.
crashing my planes and my tanks.
Yeah, you know, I actually, if you guys want to watch a live stream of Sur Smash, I also have my entire recording of Sur Smash is up on YouTube. But anytime anyone asks me to get into a plane, I end up crashing on something and just exploding and dying. That's how it is.
Right, but you drive the Sunderers like a champ. You get them into places that they were not exactly designed to get to, which brings
Haven't
an
you
exciting
said-
element
Sure,
to it.
but
You
during
spent
Server Smash,
days-
none of that is useful.
I don't know about that because I remember one server smash where they got a mosquito inside the biolab when we were playing TR, and I swear that mosquito won us that biolab. I think it was Zealous.
I remember that.
There was
I remember
last
that.
summer.
This server smash, there's a mosquito in there. It didn't last long. Oh god.
Oh,
Mosquito is the Terran Republic's ESF, their fighter aircraft. And the biolab, like, you're not supposed to get vehicles in there. And there was, yeah.
Right.
We could easily do a let's play on
Getting
PlanetSide one day.
vehicles.
yeah.
Yeah, we could.
Can we have a whole montage of Thomas flying us around?
Oh, God.
Because
I have a
Like,
couple ideas.
That would last like 2 seconds.
Hey, I'm actually really good when I try, but I like to have fun because I get bored real quick. This
so
happens in Rainbow Six Siege too. Like I'll be sitting like waiting for the guy, and I'll get bored, and then I'll just like rush him. And that's not what you want to do.
Patience is a virtue.
Yep, and I don't really have it.
Siri, where do I get patience?
I'll ask her. 1 second. Let's see what she says. I'm gonna put my phone next to the mic. Siri, where can I get patience?
Let me check that. Okay, I found this on the web for Siri. Where can I get patience?
The hell?
I don't
That didn't
know.
work. No.
All right. That's
Here,
weird.
there's a better one. Siri, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Doesn't she say the rest of the song? How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
How much ground does a groundhog could grind if a groundhog could grind ground?
Groundhog. The correct question would be, how many pounds in a groundhog pound when a groundhog pounds hog pounds?
Yeah.
I prefer the Android version better.
Well, last
Dual barrel roll.
Last year, you used to be able to ask Siri, "Where can I hide a body?" and it would tell you like the closest
Okay, so
abandoned places, but they got rid of that.
I think it was last Tuesday with the whole U.S. election and sort of everyone's campaigning. The number one thing searched on Google was how to emigrate to Canada.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, but I found that really funny. I like that.
It makes a lot of sense.
Hey,
like,
if
Right.
if Trump
America's
wins,
political
then
system.
I might be moving.
Yeah, dude, if Trump wins, I might be getting a wife. for immigration purposes. And a stack of cash. Anyways, not to incriminate me any further. But, all right, so okay, enough about Siri. Let's move on with our next topic. So No Man's Sky, their pre-order came up March 3rd. So you can actually go right now and pre-order the game. They have two versions of the game. One's the regular version for $60 on PC or PS4, and they have a collector's edition for $150.
It's a lot of money for a game, in my opinion.
This game has an amazing collector's edition, and okay, $150 might be a little steep. I think they should have priced it maybe at $100, but they're also including like a dozen different items in the collector's edition. But the one item I really like is they have a plane in the collector's edition that looks exactly like a Viper Mark II from Battlestar Galactica. And if you see this plane, you'll immediately identify it as a Viper.
That's pretty cool. That's actually one of the reasons why I came back to PlanetSide 2 one time is I finished rewatching Battlestar Galactica, and I'm like, I miss the Cylon Raider fleet. Join Vanu. Not even lying. That's why I rolled my Vanu that you guys all met me with.
Right, because the VS site looks exactly like
The Cylon Raiders.
right, like one of the the modern day Silent Raiders. Actually, when I looked at this plane and I thought of BSG, I actually thought of maybe I should go back and rewatch it. It's been like, 2 years since I've rewatched the entire series. So maybe it's about time.
I love that series. It's always worth a good rewatch.
It really is. Like there's like a handful of series that I can go back and rewatch, and BSG is definitely one of the ones that's up there. Going from their what were the two direct to television things called?
Straight to TV movies?
Yeah, but there's a name for it. Whatever. But those two are just great. That they just miniseries. It just introduces you to the main characters. It like immediately throws you into the story, what's happening, and it has a middle and has a conclusion. And I love that about the little miniseries that they did. And from that, they were given a TV series. And they do that with a lot of shows, right? Like they tried that with a show more recently last year with like Ascension.
Oh, right.
I know, Darcy, you've watched that, right?
Yeah, you recommended that to me, and I watched it, and I actually was very sad that there was no more to watch.
Right. I brought this up before. That well, not on the podcast, but just speaking to you. The end of the show should have been the beginning of the show because they end off. Okay, spoilers here. They end off Ascension where they get transported to another planet, or one of the characters does. That should have been the beginning of the show.
Well, if you're planning a show that's going to have a lot of seasons and life to it, you generally have arcs where there's a story arc that takes place. It's you have all the same characters that are doing the same thing, but I mean, part of the arc could have been, or one of the story arcs could have been, how do we get our people over there? And there'd be a lot of different occurrences with it, different drama, potentially hostiles, various challenges to make it happen. And
no,
that's
so
just
you're
one of the-
talking about the show after the miniseries. I'm talking about the reason why they didn't get signed for a television show is because the show that they presented us with was really bland.
Yeah, but they
And
tried to
if they
spice
had
it up on the
done the
last
more-
episode.
Right, but it was too late. You already
But-
lost your audience with the first 3 episodes.
I agree, but at the same time, if you consider the budget for one of these shows that might make it or might not, I honestly think they spent half of their season budget on that last episode.
I think they spent half their budget on building the sets.
Well, I think that
The
last
entire
episode,
spaceship they built.
yeah.
But yeah, that's just it's just disappointing that I think Ascension could have been a great show. I don't know why it didn't get picked up. Character
mean-
development could have been a little better. I don't know. I mean, all
don't
that
know.
stuff could have remedied during the actual TV series. But anyways, we're off topic. But
There are a lot of shows that don't see as much airtime as they really should.
My still on the sci-fi, Stargate Universe,
oh, I
where
I
it was
watched Stargate Universe.
where it was supposed to be, right? That's the one where they're on the ship.
Yep.
Just traveling. Yeah. So like, people weren't watching
It
it
got
because
2
they're like,
seasons. It got canceled.
yeah, because they're like, oh, it's not SG-1. It's boring. It's like, well, that's the whole point. Is it's
It's
a
a
drama
spin-off.
version. It's a drama version of Stargate, not this action, the exploration Stargate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's another take on the Stargate universe, and I loved it. And yeah, I got 2 seasons and then I canceled it because everyone's like, it's not SG-1. Well, that's the point.
Well, that's what they did with Star Trek. Like they had how many different how many different shows with different things they were focusing on. Like Voyager was all about the Delta Quadrant, and it was mostly about space anomalies. And then you've got DS9, which was mostly about the drama and how to interact between the various
Religion and
religions.
politics. Oh my god,
Right.
it's so terrible.
Right, but I mean, it's the same type of thing with Stargate Universe. It's just a different variant of the same show. No, it's not the exact same. If you wanted the exact same, go rewatch it. If it was that good, go rewatch it. Like we were talking about Battlestar Galactica. If it really
Oh,
is
man,
that good a
I
show,
wish Battlestar
rewatch it.
Galactica got 15 seasons or something.
Oh
I
my
would
God.
still watch it.
But how
It would
much
be
more
so
could they have
shitty
done?
though.
Yeah.
It would be. They would be stretching and writing content about like nonsense.
Do you remember the 7th season of Futurama?
Which one was that? 7th season. That was the
It
one.
was
that
after
when
it
they
got
came back
canceled
after
and
the
they came
DVDs.
back and it was so bad. You just had to watch it because it was Futurama, but it was so bad.
That was after Fry and Leela got together, right? And they had a few good episodes there. Like episode.
I think they had 2 or 3 that were okay, and then the rest of the season was just like, well, this is regurgitation.
They had one where it dealt with cyclical time, where the professor built a time machine and they kept going forward in time because it was a forward moving time machine. It couldn't go backwards.
Right, so
And
didn't they
then
go
they
into
just-
the next Big Bang?
Right, so they just keep going forward, and then it deals with cyclical time, where they just go all the way around, and the universe collapses in on itself, and then there's another Big Bang, and the solar system reforms, etc., etc. There's a lot of problems with that, where like how are they keeping their position? How are they not being destroyed, etc., etc., etc. But I mean, it's Futurama. We're not talking like hard science here. And there's another episode where the doctor, or no, it's not the
Zoidberg?
doctor. The professor makes these nanobots, and he brings them to some other planet and puts them in to clean his water. They evolve overnight to become like trees and plants and dinosaurs, and eventually they evolve into like humanoid robots. Like the entire episode basically deals with evolution,
One
whether it's
episode of
organic
Evol-
or robotic.
It's interesting. So, I mean, do you believe that if we created nanobots, that they could evolve?
Sure, why not?
Provided that they had, like, it would need some sort of AI for them to evolve
Some
past their
kind of
programming.
blueprints, right?
Well,
And they
not
have to be able to
necessarily.
work together.
Right, but I mean, if you just made a nanobot that can only do X, Y, and Z, and reproduction and evolution is not on that list, then they're not going to do the evolutionary thing that we're talking about.
Well,
We need,
they've done Star Trek episodes with that.
right, but they have to go past their original programming, which means that they're going to need some sort of external modification that allows them to go past their programming, or some sort of artificial intelligence that allows them to push their own limits.
Well, all you need to give them is the ability to work together. So, like, if you can link two together and they can do more than just two alone, then if you link 4 together, you link 16 together, they start processing more information, more data because they
Right,
have
but
more
I mean,
processing power, more memory.
okay, but I mean, let's say you linked a whole bunch of calculators together. Okay, so they can solve more numbers of pi, but they can't actually solve the problems of the universe because they don't know how to ask those questions. They have to be able
You
to.
don't know that.
Okay, so what?
You've never
Are-
linked a billion calculators together. You don't know what happens.
Hey, you get the answer 42, all right?
That sounds about right. With my my little napkin math here, it sounds about right.
But that's the whole thing is you need somebody to ask them the question or to put the idea in their head that they can evolve past what they are. And yes, it would require them to all link together and whatnot, combined intelligence, but they still have to be able to ask the question and evolve past their original programming.
But that's how you get the like. I would rather give AI or whatever you're talking about, nanites or whatever, the ability to choose for themselves what they can and can't think about, instead of hard programming some
An
directed
artificial
into them.
intelligence.
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
we're
that's
not
what I
talking
was
about
saying.
artificial intelligence yet. We're talking about like 2 nanites.
Right, but I mean, if a nanite has enough artificial intelligence to, a sort of a thought assessment, as you said, determine what it wants to think about. Like, that is
Well, I don't think
the
an
basis.
individual nanite would have enough processing power to do that. You'd have to combine like 1,000,000 nanites together to create a proper processor.
Well, we don't know how much processing power each nanite has. Like,
I'm
our
assuming
technology.
not that much.
Okay, well, what if we actually get our carbon nanotubes to be, we're able to produce these regularly without defects. We end up making these little tiny ass processors that are just firing electrons down the tubes. We would have so much more processing power in a much smaller area that we might be able to create a nanobot that could have the amount of processing required for sentient thought.
Not in a single nanobot, I don't think. No.
Okay, well, as you said, what if they all started to link together?
That would be the only way. And I imagine a nanobot is like a cell in our bloodstream.
Right.
Obviously, a cell is different. A cell is used to carry nutrients to the body, right?
Right, but the
Well,
thing is, they
depending on
have the
cell,
base
like blood
programming.
cell, red blood cell, etc., etc. But
They have the base programming of DNA. Whereas if we were to make a nanobot, we would assign their base programming. Whereas DNA can only go so far. And yes, it does have evolution, but we're talking about a cell replicating hundreds of thousands of times into different creatures, etc. From parent to child, etc. And it's constantly being rewritten with tiny modifications that occur once every how many hundreds, thousands of replications? If you had nanobots that were self-replicating, they would be wanting, like if they actually truly understood what evolution was, they could force themselves to evolve on every time that they are remade. They could say, okay, I want to be able to do this. And then
sounds like
this
the
nanobots.
robots from the Aliens universe.
Right, but I mean, when you have the ability for your genetic code to make the decision of I want to change this, then you can evolve much faster in a path that you desire.
Yeah, it's like the robots from Aliens. Remember Winona Ryder? She's one of the generations that was created by robots. Robots created by robots. Or, well, whatever they called robots in that universe. Androids or whatever.
Yeah, it's all the same thing, just depending on what is it, if they take
Right, well-
human form.
We're in a huge tangent here. Let's
Right.
get back on topic. Where were we? Futurama?
No Man's Sky.
No Man's
Wow.
Sky, right?
Wait, this,
That was
Yeah.
a
How
long
did we?
tangent.
Yeah, how did we even get here? Like 20 minutes of like tangents all the way out.
this all started.
But,
Like
No
if,
Man's
if we
Sky?
were a
Well-
branch, we would have broken up and been dying on the ground right now.
So, for those that don't know what No Man's Sky is, it's a space exploration game, and there's no storyline at all. There may be like
Really,
a
I
small
didn't know that.
Yeah, there may be a little small intro of just like kind of like why you're there and why you're doing what you're doing. But
I
there
hope
is
they
no
tell us
storyline.
something.
There is no. The whole point is
Right, it's not
Um,
scripted, like no single player scripting.
right.
Thing.
And the big thing about this game is it's massive. Like, it's a space exploration game, so of course it's going to be big. But it's ridiculous how big it is. So the star maps is like the star map of the universe or the galaxy is what they've like created, and there's like a physical chart of that somewhere that has 18 quintillion stars in it.
That's a lot. How many zeros is that for?
How many stars
16.
are there in our galaxy?
16 zeros. And
I don't know,
that 'cause I
but
know
it goes million billion trillion something else then quintillion, right?
Oh, wait, no,
Each
that's
of
not-
those stars has a solar system, so it has planets. And
So I have a
the-
question for you. You seem to know a lot about the game. I don't understand how multiplayer is going to work in No Man's Sky.
It's so initially their plan was like, well, if you come across someone cool, you can partner with them, but it wasn't a game that was selling on the multiplayer aspect. They were blatantly like, you may play this game for weeks and never see another person.
Because the
Now-
universe is so big.
Right, and because you start in a you start kind of in a random spot in like the outskirts, and the point is to try to get to the middle.
Okay, so I
Because-
gotta ask: is the Goldilocks zone an effective, or is? Okay, so the Goldilocks zone is an area where the planets orbiting the sun are not too hot and not too cold. Is this
Yes.
a? Okay,
Yes.
so
The closer it is to the sun, the more barren and like hot it can be. The farther away it is, the more barren and cold it'll be, and it has to be in that kind of middle area to have life.
okay, so by chance, if you've got 2 or 3 people in the same solar system, they're going to be within a certain band distance away from the sun, which means that there is a chance you could run into somebody,
Well,
but it would
yeah.
only be in those locations.
Are you talking about like another
No, well,
like
Another
player?
player.
Ships, though.
Well,
Yeah.
no, because you're in ships. Yeah, no, you would. I mean, that's just because it depends on where you go. There are like space stations scattered around. I don't know how. You know how many there are, how those work, or anything like that. But the thing is, so that many stars, right? A crap ton of stars, each with planets. Obviously, it's impossible to store that, you know, as files like on your computer. So the way they went about doing this to create this game is this every time that you go to like a new planet, it uses a bunch of different algorithms and stuff to figure out what planet that is. So like the only thing it tracks is where you are at in that star system. And so, or where you're at in the galaxy. So it uses like your location, and based on that, it goes through a number of series of algorithms, and that's how it generates things. But what this means is you only need the different art assets. So you need desert and snow and green and whatnot, and then you need the base forms of trees, the base forms of animals, things of that nature on your computer, and then it just takes, based on the results of the math, will determine how big the planet is, what the terrain type is, what the ecosystem's like, and like that's how it does it. So every time, so it's pretty much recreating the planet every time you go to it. But
It's
due to the
instanced.
math, right? But due to the math, it's the same every time you go there. So that means every
Would it be?
person, yes, that means every person that goes there sees the same exact thing.
Oh, that's interesting. Because the way you were describing it, I was expecting that you go to the third planet from the Sol, or from Sol, and then you say, okay, it looks like this. Now I go to the same location and I say, but wait, it's supposed to look like this, but I can see it looks like
the
that.
very first factor in the math is your location in this galaxy. So because of that, everyone who goes to the same planet, so like while you're on the planet, you're at the same location. You know what I mean? So it would be
Right.
the same for everyone.
Okay, so they probably have a database somewhere that has inhabitable planets or planets you could land on in a database, and
No,
it's just
no, there is no database
then if there's no database that says
because it's math. Therefore, every time you run the math, it's going to be the same exact answer.
because it's a seed-based equation.
So
Got it.
that's how they're able to get away with it, and the game isn't going to be 500 terabytes of data, storage required.
I
That's
just
really
find
smart.
that. Well, yeah, I love that idea, but also that their multiplayer is basically non-existent.
Well, there was talk. I haven't looked up anything recently. Now that they've now that they have the for sure release date and pre-orders are going on, I should look into it a little bit more. There was some talk of maybe doing like a party system where like if you join up in a party, you would be able to teleport to each other. But again, like that's not the point of the game. Like I mean, the
Yeah, it
point of the
just seems
game
like
is exploration,
right.
and so
It's more fun to explore with your friends.
So all right, so I said there wasn't a database, right? That's kind of a lie. What they're doing is there's no initial database, but what they're doing is every time someone discovers a planet or a solar system or animals, a particular animal for the first time, it logs it. Well, all right. You log it like
Sounds
in your
like
own
really
computers.
dangerous.
Yeah, like you log it in your own computers, and then once you get to like a space station, you can upload it to like the galaxy. Which I believe Elite Dangerous has something very similar
So
to that.
wait,
And
Yeah.
can you name
once-
animals and planets and stuff like that you discover?
I don't know. Probably. So once you upload it, it then goes into a database just kind of for record keeping because it's kind of like an experiment too. Because in this program that they've created, they've had bots exploring for a long time now, like just to see like what they can find and how it works and stuff like that. And so it's kind of like an experiment too. Like so once people start uploading stuff, they can use all that data for whatever they're going to use it for. But in that case, there will eventually be kind of like a database. But like to start with, there's not a database of all those stars. And like so, like I was talking about like terrain. Obviously, terrain's pretty easy, but like animals, it's kind of like one of the devs was explaining. It's imagine like any character creator that has sliders. It's kind of like the same thing, but
And they
again,
just
the
randomize
math.
them?
But
It's like Spore.
but it's not random. It has to
Oh,
do
so it's based
with
on the
the
planet
math.
type, the temperature, and all
yeah.
that
So
stuff.
like
So cold temperatures would have bigger creatures moving slower.
right. So and that's why like with the different equations and stuff like that, the algorithms they build off of each other. So like the very first one is kind of like the name, and then obviously the location that you're at compared to the sun will determine if there's even life and what type of terrain. But inside those, again, based on the actual location in the universe, will change some things. Then depending on if it's colder or warmer, that'll change how the animal life is. And so like everything kind of builds off each other.
I think it sounds like a really fun game, and I'd probably want to get it. It sounds interesting, unique, different.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
if
does
they
sound
if they did add some way to easily do multiplayer, like be able to link up with people, that would be. I would probably definitely get the game, me personally. They do have like there's like random factions and stuff like that. So if you say screw exploration and you're more into combat, they do have a combat system. Oh, that's the other thing too, is not only are you flying around exploring stuff, you can land on planets and get out of your vehicle to like explore on foot. And like the planets are pretty close to, as far as like, all right, not pretty close. They're not pretty close, but they're definitely like, if you get out of your spacecraft, you could walk around the entire Earth, like the world, if it was all landmass. It would just take you a really, really long time. So it's not like, oh, you just land and there you get a little like segment of the world to like walk through around. Like the entire world is open to you. And it's all seamless too. So when you go from space to inner atmosphere, like you just fly through the atmosphere and all of a sudden you're
So, like,
in the atmosphere.
what's combat?
sounds
then?
awesome.
Is there like spaceship combat? Like what?
Yeah. Yeah,
And-
there's oh shit.
So wait, you could spend weeks not find a single player. The second you find somebody, you gank the shit out of them.
Well, see, I don't know if you can attack other players. These are like AI factions that I know of for sure.
I think that's one of the things that is not that appealing for me about this game, where like you won't find anyone for weeks at a time. There's no central hub where you can go to just talk to people or do missions together or something like that.
There was
Like,
that game.
exploration for the sake of exploration without really, much purpose.
Well, you have to get back to the Alpha Quadrant in order to make friends.
It's not true. You can meet like Neelix and Kess and Seven of Nine.
Q&A, I'm gonna do it.
No, you're not, because you still have to kill the Guardian.
So the back to the game, the rift I'm in now, it's timed. And so I got
15 seconds.
You're not
fucking
killing
screwed,
him.
aren't you?
no. I paused too much to talk.
Yeah, I knew that was going to happen early on.
All right, all right.
And then
Well,
I
if any of you guys are buying the collector's edition, just send me the ship. Thanks.
Yeah,
You can keep
want
the rest of the
Viper Mark
garbage. I just
II.
want I just want the ship. I just want the ship. Just, you guys can keep the rest of the garbage.
There was the other game that I can't recall which it was, but TMN was playing it, and he was trying to meet up with another person in AT, and I think
Elite
it took them.
Dangerous.
There you go. It took them 4 days of traveling
Yep.
to be able to meet up with each other.
Yep.
And this is 4 real days. Like they
They had
planned
to
to
jump
meet up,
from solar system to solar system until they got together.
right? And they were.
I think they were jumping. I forgot where they were jumping. They were like jumping to the center of the galaxy or something to meet up.
I don't know, but it was absolutely ridiculous because, as you said, it took them 4 real life days. This is them logging on. Their entire mission was to travel to X location so that they could meet up.
Mm-hmm. That's Elite Dangerous sounds like a pretty similar game to No Man's Sky, except that Elite Dangerous has that multiplayer component that sounds like No Man's Sky is missing at this point in time. So I'm not really sure what No Man's Sky brings to the equation aside from dynamically landing on planets without any loading screens.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know what the numbers were for people playing EVE Online, but that was a very active game. If you had the same amount of people playing No Man's Sky, yes, I know there's 18 quadrillion stars, but you would end up with some player factions, and you would have a little bit of you'd have a lot more teamwork with that many more people playing. It would require a lot of people to
I
play
hope
it.
so, for their sake. I mean, for the game's sake, I mean. But yeah, so go buy the collector's edition and send it to me. Thanks. Or anyone watching or listening can do the same.
Can I get a Cylon Raider in there?
Yeah, I'd be down with that. Just get like a dozen.
You and I- Oh my god,
dozen
I would have a
Vipers and
fleet of
dozen
Cylon.
Raiders.
You and I would duel all day, just cause.
With our little collectibles.
Yep. Oh my god, that sounds
Hells yeah.
horrible.
No, it doesn't. Sounds fucking amazing. So speaking of Cylon Raiders, Ghostbusters.
Yep, another bad.
What is
No,
up with these
perfect.
segues?
Horrible segue.
Perfect.
No, like, okay, so your segue to PlanetSide 2 was like death. Okay, so speaking of death, we're talking about PlanetSide 2. Really?
Okay, in defense of that segue, we had lost server smash, so technically we lost and we had died. So that was my
Yeah, but
connection.
you were implying game death. Well, that's, yeah.
Okay, and in this case, I'm thinking Cylons, bad guys, ghosts, bad guys, Ghostbusters. Why not?
Okay. You know, it's that power of 7, so I mean, or not, it's,
What the hell's that?
or not, it's power of 7, but. Okay, so
Just give up.
That's some
now.
kind of
Everybody-
ghost reference.
everybody knows somebody else on the planet through 7 people. So you might know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knew Michael Jackson.
Somehow I
mean-
don't think that's true, but okay, if you say so.
There was a website that used
It's only-
Facebook, and it actually could do that with anybody and link them to Michael Jackson
thought it was
through
6.
lessons.
I thought it was 6 degrees
Oh,
of separation.
There you go. That's what it is. I thought it was 7. It may be 6. Either way, concept is there.
All right. I mean, it's basically a math equation, but okay.
Right. And you segue through like 19 degrees of separation.
No? Bad guys? Cylons? Ghosts?
Cylons aren't the bad guys.
Ghostbusters?
Cylons are not the bad guys.
Technically they are.
Good and bad is
Okay,
all
well,
relative
anyways,
based on perspective. But yeah, sorry, go.
Prepare bags.
So let's watch this trailer real fast.
Nick, are you able to like pause it or?
You Sony.
No, you can keep playing.
It's a class 4 apparition.
The ghosts look so much better now.
Peaceful. My name is Erin Gilbert, Doctor of Particle Physics at
Yes, they have CG.
That's what would happen to me if I ever encountered a ghost. It would just barf on me.
very hard to wash off. We have dedicated our whole lives to
It wouldn't diddle you?
Nope. Okay, I have to
Sure
say,
about
I
that.
love the Ghostbuster music like that. Dun, dun.
Except they perverted it.
I love it so much. It's so good.
I- Seeing what's her face, Kristen Wiig in this, keeps reminding me of her in The Martian and how awkward that was. You know what? A hearse
Is that
makes
the
more
same
sense
license
than-
plate?
Is it? What was their old license plate? Ecto 1 or something?
That's what the new one is.
Yeah, Ecto 1.
Oh, it is? Interesting. Hey, that green guy is still there. What was his name?
Slimer. Right?
Slimer
Right?
from the
Sounds right.
it was in the cartoons.
I feel like licking that is not sanitary.
What are we talking about now?
How do you know that?
I don't know. Just like there's always slime everywhere.
This part's great. I love this part. Ah, that's so great.
Dun, 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 dun.
Well then. That looks interesting.
I feel
I'd
like
watch
it's
it.
one of those movies that like you don't like,
Comments?
have to go see it,
Questions?
but you want to just cause.
I want to watch it but I'm not sure I'd go see it in theaters. And yeah, I kind of don't care that it's Sony.
Yeah, Sony sucks.
Yeah.
I, what do you guys think of the all-female cast?
I mean, it's meant to
fine.
be a contrast to the old one.
I don't
There's
I have
nothing
care.
wrong
no
with it.
problem with it. They're all good. They all have the capability of doing good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have like any problem with it. I think
They've-
it's a nice twist. See,
All right, real quick, what's so like your overall
Mm-hmm.
impression of that trailer?
For like
Well,
what, out of
like-
10 or something?
Like both your impression of the trailer itself and then what you think the movie will be like.
Okay, well, personally, I didn't think it was like extremely funny or like extremely catchy. I think they're more going for the fact like, oh, this is a prequel. Everyone saw the first one, kind of one of those. Just
Going
come
for
out and see
nostalgia,
the
you're
second
saying?
one.
Do you just call it a sequel, a prequel?
Shut up.
You
Whatever.
said
Alright,
you were smart.
All right, that right there. Why are you calling it a sequel?
Just because I feel like it's.
It did say
using-
30 years ago or years ago, four scientists saved New York. So
Right.
with that being said,
Yeah.
it's the same story. It's pretty well the same story. It's now four more scientists have to save New York.
Well, here's the thing: is they blatantly, when this project first got announced, they blatantly on multiple occasions were like, "This is a hard reboot. The first movie never existed."
What?
And then
Never
the
heard that
very
before.
yeah, and then the very first trailer make it seems like it's a sequel.
Interesting. So
Yeah, that
That
right
might-
there is they were either they're lying to us in the trailer and a bunch of people are going to be confused when they watch the actual movie and get pissed off, or they lied to us before, which I don't know why they would have. So it's
That
like,
could just
what
be
the hell's wrong with
that could be a lack of continuity or communication between marketing and
Right.
the other
so
branches.
that right there was kind of like, all right, what the fuck's going on? I felt like it was a little slow, especially for a teaser. Like I feel like that would have been fine a little bit later on, but as like the very first thing you see, I feel like it was kind of slow, the trailer.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to go for nostalgia with the whole intro that was kind of slow and had the words in the beginning.
Yeah, but I mean,
Well, when I
And the
think of
ghost
like
in
a
the subway.
funny, like intense, good trailer, I think of Deadpool now.
What?
Like those trailers were good.
okay, well,
That
another thing we're
I
talking
don't know
about
what
is
that
the
means.
we're talking about movies that have a reboot or type feel, and they bring the nostalgia factor. Look at Jurassic World. As its own movie, it was pretty terrible. But for everybody
Yes,
that
it
loved
was.
Jurassic Park,
I had
oh
fun
my
with
god,
it. I don't
it
know
was a
what you're
fun.
talking about.
No, that's the thing is, you grew up knowing what Jurassic Park was. Like Iceman, he grew up years after it was released, so he has no idea of the old trilogy, and he probably thinks that that movie was terrible.
You know, you bring up Jurassic World. I actually rewatched that movie last night, and there are some. I blame Colin Trevorrow for a lot of faults in that movie. Like the script was acceptable for a Jurassic World movie, a Jurassic Park movie. It's just that a lot of the action scenes he does shaky cam. He does a lot of like cam footage, and it's just really bad. He does
Well, I
the speech scenes, the scenes where characters are talking to each other, the suspense scenes. He does those really well, but the action scenes, he's garbage at them.
Right, but I mean, everybody has their own method of scenes. Like, if you want explosions, you go to Michael Bay.
Yep.
So
Well, I'm just
everybody has
saying
their
he
strengths.
sucks at he just sucks at action.
Oh,
He definitely isn't.
disagreeing.
He's no Spielberg. That's all I can say.
but yeah, I mean, going back to Ghostbusters, yeah, I think it looks like a fun movie. I look forward to seeing it, but it's not a movie that I am going to be lining up to see it in theaters. It's just I don't have that much pull to it.
You know what? You probably could have said the same thing about, the first Ghostbusters movie.
Right, but I mean, the first Ghostbusters movie, I don't remember the hype of it because I'm not sure. How old was I?
Was there much hype, or was that more of a cult following type thing?
When was the
Cult.
first one released?
So
A
while ago. It's been 30 years, so
84.
Yeah, that was before me even. So
yeah, I don't even know. Like
86. Yeah, you're right. 30 years.
okay, so I was a year old. I don't recall the cult following to Ghostbusters back then.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Was it at the time? Was it big, or was it something that kind of became big over the couple of years?
No, sorry, 84. I was probably gestating in my mother's womb. Or possibly like sucking on a tit, but depending on what month it came out.
Okay, so this got a little weird.
I mean, he's not wrong.
No, I know, but it's
all
just a
good.
weird way to gauge time.
What? By
Yeah, I
womb or tit
gauged
sucking?
time like that earlier, so I mean,
Yeah, doesn't everyone gauge time by that? You're
Yeah,
weird if you don't.
But Thomas, you're only like a few months old, so I mean, it's not really so different for you. We're talking about 30 years here. That's kind of different.
Yeah, I mean, Thomas, he grows up by going back in time.
Are we talking about a cyclical time field?
what?
No. We're talking about reverse aging here.
Oh, I remember that Futurama episode. That was interesting.
Yes, it was. So how come everything goes back to Futurama? It's like they've done all the stories before.
Futurama
But
actually
anyways-
covered a lot of topics, and they presented it in a very humorous way.
Yes, they did. And I don't know, they don't get enough credit for it. But anyways, so I'm looking at the IMDb credits here, and Dan Aykroyd is actually one of the writers for this new Ghostbusters.
I don't know who's that. Who is that?
The new one?
Someone good?
Yeah.
You don't. Oh my god.
So he also made Crystal Skull vodka, right?
That's
What?
probably going to be shown in the movie somewhere.
Oh my god, if it is, that would be terrible.
I bet you it would be, because he did that with another movie that he worked on. I can't remember which one it was. I could probably find it.
I hear that a lot of people hate the vodka, love the bottle. That's essentially the selling feature for the vodka is,
Sounds about right.
yeah. My
Oh,
brother
it was in
and-
Pixels
I've never seen it.
with Adam Sandler.
Don't. I heard it was horrible.
Yeah, it was horrible. Probably shouldn't watch it, but yeah, Dan Aykroyd has an appearance in the movie, and his Crystal Skull stuff is in the movie as well. So, yeah, we'll probably see a glimpse of it somewhere in Ghostbusters as well. Actually, you know what? It makes more sense to be in Ghostbusters, like that skull thing, than it does to be in Pixels.
No, don't worry. That haunted Crystal Skull bottle will be the
Fucking-
final boss for the movie.
It's really loud.
Okay,
That'll
you're just-
be all the marketing.
That'll be really weird.
Yeah, but I
That'll
mean,
be some horrible marketing.
yeah.
Love how IMDb has this Born Today, Born
Turn
Today
it
thing.
down. Mm-mm.
So I could just go through a bunch of actors who are born today.
Well,
Anyway.
this day in history, not today itself.
What do you mean? Oh yeah, right. To this day in history, you're right.
Because I mean, Born
Uh,
Today as an actor, that's kind of impressive.
Could be
Yeah, but we
know,
wouldn't know.
YouTube star giving birth live
What?
on.
Wait, what?
Well, I mean, if you're if you're a vlogger or something and you have like 1 million subscribers and then you give birth on like your live stream, then technically
You could give the
Yeah.
baby like a supporting role throughout the pregnancy.
that's wouldn't the baby have like the main role?
No, that would be
Well,
the
no,
mother.
it'd be about the mother. Yeah.
Unless
it
all you did.
depends.
Okay, if you filmed the entire movie with ultrasound, then the star would be the baby.
Is that even possible during birth? Yeah, I guess it is.
Uh,
I don't know enough about that shit to comment on anything like that.
That would be weird. I can tell you that.
Look at all the purples. Get your purples.
he's full on purple, so he's running back and forth, and you can't pick him up.
That's great.
I don't know what to buy.
One sec. Mouse over your gear real quick.
Oh, so now we're doing Diablo 3 year tips. All right, so Well, we're talking about movies, so this will be a good segue because I'm going to segue into The Force Awakens. It was just announced that the Blu-ray for The Force Awakens comes out on April 5th, which at this point is a month away, pretty much exactly 1 month away,
Yeah, it is.
which is great. It's great for me because I didn't actually see it in theaters, so now I can actually
What?
see it.
You
when
didn't see it
comes
in
out.
theaters?
How did you?
No.
Oh my gosh.
What the hell's wrong with you?
It's perfect because I never saw any of the older ones in theaters, but I did see some of the middle ones in theaters, which
Dude,
sucked. So it's
oh.
good.
Oh, dude, no. No.
Don't worry about it. It's all good.
You fucked up.
I fucked up just enough.
Because, like, some of those scenes are only going to look as cool as they did when you're on the big screen.
I agree. So when the movie comes back to theaters in like the 10-year anniversary, I'll go and watch it.
That's so far away.
Just like
dumb.
they did with the with Back to
You're
the Future.
By then
IMAX
I'll be
3D.
like 8 years old.
Sounds about right. Your math checks out. But well, anyways, so what I want to bring up with The Force Awakens was the short cycle between moving from the silver screen to Blu-ray, and it's gonna be about 3.5 weeks, or three months and no, sorry, 3 months and 3 weeks, 3 months and 2 weeks, maybe. That's really short, considering like if you look at the Avengers, they usually do like 4.5 weeks. I think like most Marvel movies they go above 4 weeks. I think Ant-Man was really high. I think Ant-Man was like 5.5 weeks.
Well, wouldn't it be dependent on how well it's doing in theaters? So if
Or
it
sorry,
starts
5 months
dipping
and-
off,
Not 5.5 weeks. I keep fucking that up. 5 months and 5.5 months, not weeks.
but as I said, if the movie's doing well, wouldn't it stay in theaters longer? And if it starts dipping off, they'd want to put it available on to buy on Blu-ray for the people who actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree. So you're saying
But-
that The Force Awakens is doing bad in theaters,
It could be.
which it
I
isn't.
mean,
Well, no. I mean, it's tapering off. And the big thing is, too, you got to look at what's coming out over the next couple weeks. I mean, in, what,
Mhm.
2 weeks, Batman vs. Superman's coming out?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you already have, Deadpool crushed it. That's on the way out. You had Zootopia open this weekend, which is going to be great for kids.
I have no
And
idea what
then-
that is. It's probably
It's
good.
like yeah. I mean, it looks kind of all right. It's a Disney movie where, like, instead of humans, it's animals. But they live in like a human world. It's like a buddy cop movie type thing. Anyways, but oh my, and I'm drawing my complete mind blank of what else is coming out between now and then. But shortly after that April slot too, you're gonna have Suicide Squad somewhere in there. May, like the very first week of May is Captain America,
Yep, Civil War.
which
That
I mean,
movie's
yeah, that's-
looking good.
there's some other like bigger movies that are coming out. So and it's one of those things that it's
Doctor
run its
Strange.
course. Well, that's way later. So
Yeah.
it's just one of the things that Star Wars has run its course, and I think studios used to do it where they would wait longer between
Mhm.
releasing. Was just the whole, they want people, people to kind of forget about the movie. Not like forget about the movie, but be like, oh, you know what? That was a while ago I saw that. Yeah, I'll go buy it. Whereas
let
if,
the
like,
hype die down.
right, if they had just seen it, there's probably less chance of them going to buy the movie right away. But it's Star Wars.
I think that works against them. I think
Well,
you want to
it's-
put the
it's
disc
always-
out there when it's still fresh in people's minds.
It's not necessarily fresh, but I think it's a fine balance.
Yeah,
You don't want it
it's
too
definitely fine
soon.
balance.
Because that's another thing too, is if you do it too soon, then people aren't going to go see it in theaters.
Right, because they'll know that like, oh, this is coming out the Blu-ray. Then why would I go
Right.
see it in theaters?
So there's like I think there is a fine line.
Well, we're only
Well, you
talking about
basically-
official
I mean,
methods. How many
we're-
movies are available digitally before it's even finished on the silver screen?
It's usually only the movies that are doing bad, movies that are underperforming from what the maker of the movie thought. If they're
Right.
not making the money that they thought they were going
They'll
to
try
make,
to push a
then they
Blu-ray out.
they'll push it out digitally for that very reason of it's on people's minds.
Hmm.
Because you'll see that all the time where like not even a month after the movie came out, also the movie is available on like Amazon Prime to rent because and it's still a $5-6 rental, and so it's like, well, people aren't paying the $10 to see it in theaters. Maybe they'll spend the $5 to watch it at home, and it does. It's working because they're still doing it, so I'm assuming it's working. And I've done that a couple times too.
I wonder if Netflix will ever do a sort of pay-per-view of silver screen type movies. Like, right when they're available on DVD, have them as pay-per-view.
Their
or-
entire service is not set up for that at all.
Yeah.
It could be.
But I mean, even with like Blu-rays, do you guys own a Blu-ray player? Like,
I can't even play a Blu-ray on my
I-
computer.
My laptop, my desktop, I have my Xbox One and my PS4.
PS4, yeah.
wait, PS4 can play them?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
good to know.
Wait, if PS3 can play them, why wouldn't PS4?
Yeah.
Oh.
They both use Blu-ray discs for the games.
Oh, okay, then I can watch Blu-rays. I was
Okay,
there
one
goes my
second.
whole point. I was about to say like I don't even own a Blu-ray
That-
player. Well, I guess
Thomas?
I do now.
Do you remember when consoles used to have these things called cartridges?
Of course he
that?
doesn't. Why would he
No, I
remember
do,
that?
I do. I had a DS.
That
Yeah.
doesn't count.
No.
It doesn't count to the extent of the old gaming consoles where you put in the huge, massive cartridge, but
I've
it's
okay.
the
I've got an
same basic idea.
I've got an
Still doesn't
NES in the top of my closet. Fully functional NES still works. The Duck
have
Hunt
one
gun.
too.
The Duck Hunt gun does not work with new TVs.
I never even knew how the Duck Hunt gun worked to begin with.
Okay,
I always
so
try to figure it out. I looked inside of it. Is it a camera? Is it some kind of
No.
optical sensor? I don't understand.
it is an optical sensor. It looks for a white block. Whenever you fired while playing Duck Hunt, the duck actually turned into a white square for a split second. And if it registered seeing that white square in front of the eye, then it counted as a hit.
And why do you know this?
Why not?
I don't know. It's just like
You just found a
weird.
bandit shrine. That's awesome.
a panda shrine.
Bandit.
All right.
Loot.
Yeah, you can see there's a fountain of loot everywhere. There's
Well,
still
I
more
think-
dudes. Watch your minimap.
Where?
I think you might be good now.
I think one of the reasons why they're also releasing, I bet they're going to do the same thing for the future Star Wars movies. And it's mainly because they're releasing so many movies so frequently that they just want to keep it relevant. If they spend too much time dawdling and they don't release them to Blu-ray fast enough, people end up forgetting about them.
Well, yeah, and I think it's so. Not only are they the whole concept of there's just not going to be any screens left for Star Wars because all the new movies are coming out. They probably want people to buy the disc before they spend all their money. Because pretty much once Batman hits, there's like a good movie coming out between superhero movies and other movies like every 2 weeks. So it's one of those things that they're probably like, let's get it out early so that way people actually buy it before they spend all their money going to the theaters over the summer. Like that's probably another reason why they want to bring it out so soon.
Oh, that makes sense.
I do think it's a little. It's not that bad. So the digital version comes out April 1st, so 4 days before the Blu-ray. And I'm glad they I'm kind of surprised they didn't do like 2 weeks, because kind of force people to double dip, because people would. So like I'm glad that it's not that bad, but at the same time I don't get why. Like, why not just release them on the same day?
Oh, I think it is for double dipping though. It's like if you want it 4 days earlier, you gotta pay now, and then if you want the Blu-ray after, you gotta pay again.
And that's like
Sounds about
so shitty because like I'm all for the Blu-rays because I love the behind the scenes stuff.
Dude, trust me, it doesn't make any sense to me when like you go on like Google Play, and you'll see like, oh, you can own this movie, or well, not technically own, but like it'll be available on your Google account forever, and the fucking thing is like $20. That shit just doesn't make any sense to me. When you can actually just go and buy the Blu-ray for the same price.
Right.
I guess it's convenience, but then why doesn't it cost less money then? Shouldn't it cost like $10 or $5 or something?
Oh, I completely. The digital distributors got greedy fast. So it kind of
Yeah,
all
definitely.
started. It kind of all started back with Amazon and Kindle, like back with the books. And because I got one when it first came out, and I mean you were paying like $3 for a brand new book, and it's like okay,
Yep.
well now a brand new book costs $10.
Wait, but that's from the the publisher though.
Well, here's the thing.
They set the prices.
Whatever, the publisher slash distributor. But that's like, that makes no sense. Like, how is a digital book costing the same amount as the physical book?
Yeah, I mean, if you buy a hardcover or paperback book, you're looking at between 10 and $20 for this thing. And this is all the materials, is it physical printing, etc. Whereas if you have a digital copy, I mean, I can make a digital copy of a book if I had all the words in front of me. I could do it myself, and it wouldn't cost me manufacturing costs and all sorts of other things. And then I could distribute it. So yeah, asking $10 for that is outrageous. You shouldn't be paying that.
You know,
Because
Andy Weir has actually come out. Andy Weir is the dude who wrote The Martian, and he's come out and say that like he posted his book on his own website, but until people like asked him to post it on like what was it, Amazon for the Kindle, he didn't get the same like traction that he did. So, but in order to post on Amazon, they forced him to set a minimum price of $1. So that's what he posted it at. He posted his book up on Amazon for $1.
good for him. I
But
mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like he couldn't even distribute it for free on Amazon. They didn't allow him to.
Which is
Right.
which is fine because I mean you're using. Well, I don't know how their pricing works. I don't know if Amazon gets a cut of that or what. But
Oh, definitely, they definitely do.
Yeah,
Right,
so
but
I'm assuming that's to cover Amazon's cost. That's why they have a minimum amount. Because if you're just handing stuff out for free,
It's a book. It's not like you're streaming a like 10 gig video file.
no, but still, it's. I mean,
It's like 10 megs. Here,
but
10
you
megs.
get, like any business, is you supplement other costs based on
I
other
guess.
products. So, but I mean, $1 for a book, digital book, that's perfectly fine. But back, because before they got rid of the extended universe in Star Wars, I would buy like all Star Wars novels, and a
Mhm.
new book would come out, and the Kindle version would be like $7.99. The paperback version, $8.99.
Yeah,
So
that doesn't
you're
make any
paying
sense at all.
And
dollar to-
nowadays, the writers and all that stuff, they do all their revisions, all that stuff digitally. So it's already digitized. You just gotta
Okay,
make sure it's in the Kindle format. So like, where is this? Why? What is like? And it's pure greed. That's all.
So what we're
Pure
saying
greed.
Yeah, it
is
is.
that you're paying $1 to kill a tree, and that Amazon and other sites like this are completely against nature because they are money grubbing.
We're
They
not-
want to. That's what's being implied here.
We're not
is that-
killing a tree. We're putting it out of its misery of living.
Yeah, that's great. Because I mean, earlier today you said you were smart. I'm having a very, very, very hard time with this right now.
I'm
so
just being fun. God.
you are.
That's debatable.
Well, let's just agree that book publishers are greedy.
I think all publishers and distributors are greedy. Everyone's trying to make as much money
just-
as they
yeah.
can.
It
But-
just
but-
might have to do with the times that it's tougher for them these days than it was back in the day.
Okay, here's the thing is if people have these prices way too high, then people go, oh, why don't I just get my buddy to get me a copy of his because he's bought it? And I mean, on one level or another, piracy is going to happen because people aren't willing to pay for not killing a tree. Like, I mean, you're paying $7 for something that's costing them, I don't know, pennies to distribute. It's, I don't know, when somebody, like when a big corporation is money grubbing and they're clearly money grubbing, people find it easier to justify piracy.
Well, we can just say that the
Mhm.
world is not perfect and everyone wants money.
Right, and greed
Nothing
is
wrong-
going to kill the planet.
There's nothing wrong with money. It needs to be there. Before money, we were in trade and barter system, which sucks even worse. Which leads to the wrap up.
Totally.
Yep. See, perfect segue, right?
The
No
segues
comment.
aren't as bad, but we keep bringing them up, which makes me think about them, which is like,
It's perfect. You have to bring up the bad segues because it makes us work harder on the next segue.
But you're
But anyways,
not.
this is one of our longest shows so far, so let's end it here. We'll be back next week with more awesome content.
Yay.
Let us know if you guys have any topics you want us to cover or any games you want us to play. Drop a comment in the comment section below. And give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Give us a thumbs down if you didn't like it. And subscribe if you want to keep updated with our future content. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Later.
That was perfect.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly how the story went.
Oh yeah, the
That's-
T-Rex. It
That's
like breaks
exactly
down
how the story went.
It breaks down the fence and like smushes their car or something.
All right.
And I remember. Okay, is this from the original? Because isn't there a scene where like they're walking to like a stadium and there's like a bajillion eggs everywhere, and then they start hatching?
That's Godzilla.
Oh, whoops.
That is absolutely Godzilla.
Oh my god.
That was great.